All praises due to the Most High family. Let's talk some football real quick. So, look, comment what I'm wrong on. Let me know what I missed. I didn't have a chance to catch the whole game, family. I be working overnight, so I watched the highlights. But I'm gonna tell you what I saw though. So the Eagles and the Cowboys. Well, the Eagles beat the Cowboys, which is what most of us predicted, given that the Eagles are just coming off of their Super Bowl win. Dak last year Dallas struggled against the Eagles. Dallas had just got rid of Micah Parsons, their best defensive player. Saquon Barkley was just ranked, he just came out in the player rankings. He was number 1 of the top 100. So we was all pretty much assuming that the Eagles were going to win, but this was a much closer game than we expected. Now, first half, a lot of offense. I don't think either defense got any stops in the first half. It was all scoring drives, and it was pretty impressive on both sides. Obviously, more so on the Eagles because they were up 21-20 at the half. Or was it 21-17? But the Eagles were up after the first half. And, these weren't a lot of really big plays, quick drives. These were like marching down the field drives. And even to close the half, they both closed the half with a score. So it was a lot of offense. Which usually you expect, honestly, the opposite so early in the season. Usually defenses tend to start the season a little bit faster. Now, in the second half, though, that's exactly what we saw. Both of these defenses locked down. Right? I think only Philly scored a field goal in the second half. Now, a lot of people are, let's talk about CeeDee Lamb. Great first half. He got the most targets. He had the most receptions. I believe he was the only 100-yard receiver in the game. Great first half. And a lot of what I heard people talk about in reference to CeeDee Lamb and his disappointment in his game was the 3 drops. But it was kind of worse than that because all of his drops were in the second half. So, and a couple of them were catchable. One they're kind of beating him up on. That's a tough catch to make, that diving catch, right? But it really wasn't even the coverage because they were catchable. And even the difficult one, he had a chance, but I'm not gonna blame him for that difficult one. That diving catch would have been, it was hard. It was too hard. He didn't make it, but it's not too hard, but it is difficult. That's definitely not a given for him to be diving like that on a deep ball with the game on the line like that. That's a difficult pass, or a difficult catch. So I'm not gonna beat him up for that one in particular. But all 3 of his drops were in the second half, and it wasn't necessarily because of the defense. So I don't know what happened in his mental, in his hands. I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad, but then upon rewatching the highlights, they were all 3 in the second half. So that's not a good sign. Dak was looking good. Dak was looking pretty good. Now, what I liked about Jalen Hurts' game better, though, well, I didn't even say Dak was looking good. He was getting the ball out quick, and the deep balls, I mean, were pretty accurate. And I know he didn't get sacked, but the Eagles were putting pressure on him. So it was, if you a Cowboys fan, it was a good sign to see him getting the ball out quickly and avoid those sacks, because you see that he wasn't sacked and you might think, oh, okay, he had a cushy pocket all night. He had time. He didn't necessarily have time. I mean, he did what he had to and could do, and he got the ball out quickly for the most part, but the Eagles were pressuring him. They did have him under duress. Now, what I liked about Jalen Hurts' game better, with much fewer pass attempts, he spread the ball out a little bit more. I know some people are talking about he needed to get it to A.J. Brown a little bit more, but Jalen Hurts was taking what the game was giving him. And when he didn't see anybody open or didn't see a pass that he did not want to force, he was aggressive in taking those yards by running. You know, none of them were designed runs. Very few of them were designed runs. He was just scrambling, noticed that it was man coverage, and he just took what he could get. So I feel like Dak put up some yards and threw some good balls, but Jalen looked like he was in control of the game. Jalen, although he was sacked, to me, he just looked a little bit more comfortable, right? Can they game plan, and could he have forced the ball to A.J. Brown more? Probably, and maybe they should. But even with the fewer pass attempts, the evidence is in the fact that Jalen, with fewer pass attempts, spread the ball out more. More of his players got targets. But as a result of that, especially when there's so few attempts, A.J. Brown did not eat like he would have liked to, like some of us would have liked to seen. And some people, okay, so now I want to talk about Saquon. Some people are talking about Saquon did not have a good game. And let me know, like, y'all comment and fill me in on what I missed. I only had time to catch the highlights, unfortunately. But in a division game, as a reigning Super Bowl champ, as the current ranked #1 player as of this player poll, the top 100, I mean, he only had 60 rushing yards, but he had a good amount of success in the receiving game, and he still had a touchdown. He still had some good-looking runs when they were needed. I'm not mad at Saquon's game at all, to be honest with you. We all agree, especially in the second half, that Dallas played better defense than we were expecting them to. So I'm not mad at Saquon's game. I think Jalen had a great game. The Eagles were on some nonsense as far as, well, there was one bad penalty that was called on them. I thought one of those personal fouls was not quite fair. The one that happened when Dallas was made a pass attempt in the end zone. I forgot the player's name, but he got flagged. I didn't too much like that, but oh boy, right at the beginning of the game was a bonehead and spit on that. And of course, spitting on somebody's crazy. He really put his team in a bad position. He really put himself in a bad position. But what stood out to me about him spitting on Dak is he was stepping backwards at the same time. And spitting is already kind of cowardice and cowardly. But to walk back, you're the bigger part. You're you're the more physically imposing person, and you're walking backwards while spitting on somebody. That was crazy to me. Very much giving coward, especially when Dak was walking up to you. It wasn't that you walked Dak down. Dak walked up to you about this confrontation. You decide to spit on him while you're taking steps back. So you looked bad, you hurt your team. It's just all around terrible. That's my take.